What up, what up, what up, New York Giant Nation? It is your boy, Mac the Giants fan, here with a little afternoon chat, man. Friday afternoon, day 3, training camp is in the books, man. Look, a lot of fans getting excited out there. And I get it, man. It's football season, so that's a reason alone to get excited. What is going on, Coach? How you doing, man? Good to see you pulling up, man. I appreciate you, man. Peace and blessings to you as well. Hope everything is going great, man. Me and family, everybody's doing good, man. Everything, nothing but love, man. Living my best life right now, man. Just out here getting ready, getting geared up, and getting ready for this season, man. Getting on this grind, man. But yeah, most definitely, New York Giants day 3 in the books, man. And like I said, it's the reason. Just football season alone is the reason to be excited, if you ask me. But this New York Giants team, they seem to be really coming in this year, getting ready, preparing for this year. It's a new energy out there, man. So it's like a new juice, man. And I like what I'm saying in the early part of training camp. I know a lot of people have been, a little hard, a little critical with Jackson Dart out there making rookie mistakes. He's a rookie. He's a young guy. He's out there, he's working on it, and he's trying to figure it out, man. And I rather these mistakes be getting made in practice and training camp and things of that such, man. Get them cleaned up before we ever actually have to throw them out on the field, man. Thank God we got a couple other veteran quarterbacks that'll most likely be in front of them, for the start of the year and everything. Obviously, we already know Russell Wilson is the starter for this football team, so it's. I think people need to kind of relax a little bit. People getting a little over the top with some of their criticism of Jackson Dart, I think, right now, when he's only 3 practices in to his NFL career, 3 training camp practices into his NFL career. I mean, look, we knew the kid was a project when he was drafted. You knew he wasn't necessarily a guy that was going to come in and be a day one starter. These are things that you know about. So you just gotta temper those expectations a little bit and be like I said, relax and give this kid a fair chance to truly develop and see if he can, develop himself into an NFL quarterback, the future of this franchise, what we drafted him for. Look, it's tough. It's like I want to go out there. Look, I want to talk about the big guys a little bit, but it's just because it's tough these first 3 days. Like I said, no pads, so you don't really get to really see the full works of the big guys, man. And I think this Monday when they get the pads on, what's going on, Chad? I appreciate you stopping in, man. Hope everything's going well with you, brother. But you can't get a good gauge on the big guys, man, without the pads on, man. Like I need to see them put some work in, man. I think I seem to stand in a bit of a minority of most New York Giant fans when we have talked about the offensive line. Is I feel like people almost are trying to run Greg Van Roten out of here, and I feel like I just don't get it. I mean, Greg Van Roten, to me, sure, is he a all-pro offensive lineman? Is he like this top-tier offensive lineman in the league? Nah, he's not, man. But at the end of the day, he's serviceable. And he demonstrated that a season ago. Like I said last week on this very show, and I'll say it again, I'm fairly comfortable with the right side of the line if it's Jermaine Illuminor and Greg Van Roten. Because after Andrew Thomas went down last season, if it weren't for those two, I don't know where we would have been at on this O-line. I have no idea. But I don't know what we would have been able to do without those guys last season. I mean, I think more of the focus needs to be on the rest of the guys. I mean, Andrew Thomas obviously is on PUP, and hopefully we get him healthy and get him back, man. But at the same time, look at John Michael Smith, JMS, man. He's got something to prove in the middle of that line. He's a guy that has something to truly prove. I mean, we know what Greg Van Roten is and Jermaine Illuminor, those guys on the right side. And like I said, if we get the same level of play we got from them a season ago, I'm fairly comfortable with that being the right side of our offensive line. I'm not as off of it. I don't know what everybody seems to want to, we need to, that's who we need to get rid of. Is Greg Van Roten, get him out of the starting five, make him just the back. Look, If that's how it comes down, that's what it comes down to. That's what it comes down to. But let the play on the field speak for that. I mean, I feel like people were just kind of almost like they just like as if this guy didn't have a fairly solid season a year ago. But JMS, he hasn't had a solid season at this point in his career yet. This is year 3. That 2023 draft class is on notice right now. Hey, what's going on, David? That 2023 draft class is on notice right now. Round 1, Deonte Banks, you're on notice, son. Round 2, JMS, you are on notice, son. Round 3, Jalen Hyatt, you are on notice, son. Like, come on. Guys were our first top 3 picks from that draft class, and they're all right now on the hot seat, if you ask me. None of them are sitting on steady ground right now. It's all a little shaky right now for those 3 guys. I mean, hell, Whatchamacallit didn't even get to start the day of practice. Dave Banks, Cordell Flott got the starting cornerback reps over him today in practice. And once again, it wasn't a very impressive day for Tay Banks as well. I heard he once again got beat a couple of times on some routes, man, and just got to clean that up, bro. You got to clean that up. I mean, it just is what it is. But like I said, let's get back to the big guys. JMS, man, like I said, this is my guy I'm looking at very closely all this summer right now, man. I can't wait for them to get the pads on because I need to see if he's ready up to the challenge, man, up to the task at hand. I heard he, from what reports hearing, he had some bad snaps today at practice as well. That could come down to just adjusting to the new quarterback, a much shorter quarterback than what he's been dealing with his first couple of years. So hopefully he can get that together. I mean, I feel like he'll be that part will come together. He'll be okay in that department. But you got to demonstrate that you're able to hold up in the interior of this line. The center is the anchor of that offensive line, man. You got to be that guy, man. And right now, you just haven't been. What's going on, Mitch? Thanks for popping in, bro. I appreciate it, man. But it's just not. And as far as John Runyon Jr., I don't know. I mean, I know he played through some injuries last season, but what he put out there, it wasn't very good. That's what I mean. We're concerned about like finding somebody to replace Greg Van Roten. John Runyon Jr., man, these guys got to earn their way. Like I said, I'm fully confident in a healthy Andrew Thomas once he gets back to full strength and he's healthy. I'm fully confident in that guy, no matter obviously. But I mean, James Hudson's been getting abused in practice. That's for, and like I said, with no pads on, it's hard to really get a true evaluation of these guys. Truly, when the pads aren't on, obviously defenders are just kind of running around them, and I get it, you know what I mean. But look, this offensive line has a lot to prove, and it's going to be a big year for this O-line. They have to get it done because, like I said, with Russ Wilson back there, you got to upgrade at the quarterback position, but you still got to block for him. You still got to open up holes for Tyrone Tracy Jr. to run through, and whoever else is the running back, whoever other running backs are getting the ball. You got to be able to open up holes. It has to get it done. I mean, Evan Neal, sure, if you can come out there and win one of those guard jobs, then if you're one of the best 5, then let's get it. Like I said, I want the best 5 out there. But right now, to me, the best 5 absolutely includes Greg Van Roten. I just don't. I mean, I don't get it. Like I said, I don't want to be sitting here like I'm just tooting this guy's horn. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, Coach. He definitely is. To me, he is serviceable at guard and center. And that's why, like I said, with John Michael Smith being on notice, because if he can't get it done in center, we can move Greg Van Roten to center and say Evan Neal, we'll just say his name just because he's the guy that definitely needs to show and prove. He earns that right guard spot, and that's our best 5. Then that's our best 5. We just got to go with it, man. And that's how it's got to be. So I just think hopefully we can bring some stability to this offensive line, man, and get these guys moving people out the way, man. I mean, it just hasn't been good enough for the better part of the last 10 years or so. It just hasn't been good enough. So hopefully these guys can step it up, man. And like I said, we'll get a much better feel for it come Monday. when they get the pads on, they can really get the doing a little bit, making a little contact going. And speaking of contact, obviously, I don't know if people heard in practice today, it was a major collision in practice. Brian Burns, Wan'Dale Robinson had a what was a scary looking collision at practice, but it looks like both players were able to get off the field on their own power, shake it off, whatever. And Brian Dable didn't even mention it when he was speaking to the press after practice. So I'm going to assume it's pretty much nothing much to that, but something to keep an eye on. They did have what was referred to as a pretty scary collision at practice today, Wan'Dale Robinson and Brian Burns. But let's talk a little about running back situation here. Tyrone Tracy Jr., obviously RB1, and he's been looking good through these first few days of practice. Cam Scatterboo really getting some looks, man. Been really excelling in the passing game through the first 3 days of practice. Got a couple touchdowns under his belt, making some good catches. His hands are looking great out of the backfield. But there's a guy that almost seems to be getting forgotten. Everybody talks about the running backs and they kind of skip over his name, gloss over his name a little bit. And that's Devin Singletary. I mean, let's face it. I wasn't excited about him coming in last year as the lead back, but at the end of the day, he has been a solid professional throughout his career, and his role, as long as you keep him in the right proper role, he's a guy that is good, and it'd be far fetched that he's not going to make this team. He's going to be part of that running back room come September. So at the end of the day, it's just a matter of how he falls on the depth chart, and how what touches he gets and everything, but people seem to keep forgetting about Devin Singletary for some reason. They're almost, like I said, it's like they talk running backs. It's just Tyrone Tracy, Cam Scatterboo, Turbo Miller. And it's like, oh, there's another guy, named Devin Singletary, old Wally veteran, that most likely is going to make this roster. So I feel like last year, once Tyrone Tracy took over, Devin Singletary was very good, as he always has been, in that role of that number 2 guy. He was very, very good. And most likely that's what he's going to be. I mean, Cam Scatterboo, as much as I love him, he's a 4th round draft pick rookie. I'm not so sure that he's going to just come in right away and beat out Devin Singletary. I mean, I'm not convinced of that by any means. So things to keep an eye on as we keep ramping it up in camp right now and and get ready for the preseason. And speaking about guys that have been electrifying in camp, Malik Neighbors, I can't tell this guy had any kind of issue with his toe. The way he's been balling, I mean, he has been just looking every bit the part of what he is. Malik Neighbors is an absolute dog. I mean, he has been giving Paulson Adebo fits throughout the first 3 days of training camp. But that's as to be expected. Malik Neighbors is a special talent, man. It's not the lesser Paulson Adebo has made his share of plays, but he's been struggling against Malik Neighbors when matched up against Malik Neighbors. I just look, but most people will. That's the kind of player Malik Neighbors is. Coach says, I think Scats is eventually going to become an impactful and important contributor player on the offense. His game will become complementary with the defense and conjure up memories of old school play. I can agree with that because Scat just gives me the old school vibes, period, man. He's like that old school rough and tumble kind of guy, man, that I used to love watching growing up, man. He's definitely one of those kind of dudes, man. Just a little juggernaut. Now, people try to, make comparisons and try to say, well, he doesn't have top end speed and he does this and he's not that and he is not. This ain't Arizona State. He's not just going to be expected to come in here and be running over defenders. Yeah, it's not going to be to the level in which he was doing it in college, obviously. But something about a guy like Scatterboo is he's just so damn hungry and just wants to prove people wrong. And he has that inside of himself. And you either have it or you don't have it. And Scat has it. That's why I think he will become a pretty damn good running back here. And like you said, a good complimentary back. A little thunder to Tyrone Tracy's lightning. I get it, man. Bring back some of that old nostalgia, man. Like I think Scatterboo is gonna be like I said. Well, he's had a good 3 days of practice so far. Thus far, like I said, been a big part of the passing game. A lot with the second team, third team, or whatever. But he's gotten mixed up in there a little first team reps here and there too. I mean, as a matter of fact, Jackson Dart threw a nice little touchdown pass to him today at practice, late in practice. So I'm confident that Scatterboo will be very good. Have a role and be a good piece of this offense, man. When they really find exactly how they want to deploy him in this offense, man. But Jalen Hyatt, he didn't practice today. Apparently, he was cramping up yesterday really badly. So today they sat him out. Nothing to be alarmed about, according to Brian Dable. No kind of hamstring. He doesn't have a hammy. He doesn't have nothing serious. He was just cramping up really bad yesterday, and they precautionary wanted to sit him out. Didn't want him to go out there pushing it too much today. The team has a day off tomorrow, so we have that a couple extra days to get himself prepared as we get ready. Like I said, the practice is getting ready to ramp up a little bit. They'll be back on the field Sunday, and then Monday they'll be in pads, making a little noise out there, man. So, like I said, I'm excited for that. Just like I said, because just flipping to the other side of the ball a little bit. Abdul Carter's been, making a lot of noise, been all over the place. But like I said, without the pads on, it's hard to really truly get that full gauge when can't nobody can't really put them hands on you for real, for real. I mean, it's just not the same thing. So hopefully we'll see some of that same energy next week once these guys are out there in the pads. You can, like I said, the big guys can finally get their chance to shine, because right now it's just basically been all the specialty players just it's about execution these first few days, pretty much trying to get some of the execution and some of that stuff down. But like I said, next week we'll get to see the big guys get to finally show what they made of, and I'm excited. I'm excited for that, very very much. I mean, as long as we can keep it clean, everybody can stay healthy. Obviously, knock on wood. It's football, things happen, but I'm excited to see the big guys get a chance to go out there and show off and show their stuff next week. Like I said, when he put these pads on, because like I said, the O line certainly needs some work. And this defensive line, yeah, sure, on paper it looks damn good, but you got to show us something. You got to prove, still got to prove it and go out there and earn it. And I figure if this D line is worth anything, what everybody's calling it, it should be able to go out there and have some pretty successful days against what's not a very impressive offensive line. Let's face it, that's what the New York Giants have right now. Not a very impressive O line. So I look forward to seeing if this defensive line can dominate the way that they technically should once they do get these pads on. I mean, Abdul Carter has been all over the place so far. Like I said, he's had a couple of really big days, but got to see more, man. Like I said, I want to see more. I want to see, like I said, see it when it's like real, more bullets are a little more alive, a little more hot. Right now it's just been, like I said, 7-on-7s. Some team drills. Like they did stretch the field a little bit more today. Russell Wilson threw a tremendous deep ball to Malik Neighbors. Dropped it right in the bucket, man. It was beautiful. Good to see that, man. Like we haven't seen a lot of that downfield action, man, in a few years, man. It's been a while since we've seen some like really the New York Giants offense stretching the field. So that's something to get excited about potentially. Coach Sears coaches in. He says, if I'm JMS, I want the pads on. It'd be full go, and I want Carter first. Payback is yes, it is. I mean, that's what I want to see, man. Like you're getting the work in there, JMS, against guys that are considered, well, especially one guy in particular, Dexter Lawrence, who's considered arguably the best at his position. And you're getting that kind of work, man. Sure, Dexter's going to get you because Dexter's that damn good. He's going to get you most of the time. You're going to lose more of those battles than you're going to win against a guy like Dexter Lawrence. But at the same time, you got to be able to find a way to get him every once in a while too, man. Iron sharpens iron, man. Like that's what this thing is all about, man. Getting these guys prepared, and I feel like this O line with the talent that they'll be facing every day in practice against their own defensive line, that should be getting these guys geared up and getting them ready, man. And then once you're able to insert Andrew Thomas back into the equation, the sky could be the limit. Like you said, they're not. I'm not expecting them to be some like top unit by no means, but at least get to the middle of the road. At least do that for me. Get to at least the middle of the road, and then I think you can kind of work things out from there, man, and kind of sort things out and move some pieces here and there as we go, man. I mean, I've been hearing, fifth round draft pick Marcus Mbo. He's been having a few struggles a little bit here and there, but they've also, from what I've been hearing, is moving him around all over the place as well. So I don't know. I just want to see what they can do. What is going on, Kev, man? I appreciate you, bro. How you been, man? See them Commanders out there. I see your boys getting ready, man, too, man. We're going to have something for them week 1, man. Best believe that. We're going to have something for them. What's going on, dealer? Thanks for stopping in, man. But, yeah, no doubt. I just, right now, but I feel like when it comes to a guy like him, he's a little undersized on the offensive line anyway. Fifth round draft pick, he's kind of a project player as well. But he did some good things. He did some good things in college. I just wish they need to settle in on a position with a guy like him. And I think when you putting too much at a rook, give him too much, throwing too much his way, that's how you ruin a guy, man. You got to bring him along a little bit. I just don't see it, Coach, man. It'll cost a couple of dollars to bring Christian Wilkins in, and I just don't see the Giants putting that kind of money out. It would shit. If they were to get their hands on him, though, the defensive line would be absolutely over the top. That would put things over the top if they were able to get their hands on a guy like on Christian Wilkins. When he's back healthy and ready to go, man, that would him and Dexter Lawrence. Oh my God, that would be absolutely bananas. But I just don't see it because Christian Wilkins is going to command a couple of dollars, man. He's not going to come in for like no cheap on the cheap, man. You're going to have to pay him. And I just don't see the Giants rolling that kind of money out right now at this point, especially considering how talented the defensive line situation already is. It's been a slow few days for Darius Alexander, third round pick Darius Alexander as well. He hasn't really been making too much noise, but at the end of the day, who knows that all things can change up when you get the pad. Like I said, it's hard. It's got to be tough for these big guys to be interested right now these first couple of days when it's like, what are we even doing? They're just like it's almost like just going through the motions. There's nothing really much for them to do without the pads on, man. And it's tough being in that situation. So hopefully he'll wake up and I'll see a little bit more from him. We'll see a little bit more from him. And like I said, all the other big men come next week when they get those pads on, they can get to some real work. Good things coming out the secondary, man. Tyler Newman had a big day today. Apparently him and Javon Holland are really developing some really good chemistry back there. The two safeties, the guys that are going to be the two starting safeties for sure, developing some good chemistry back there with Drew Phillips in the slot, in that slot corner role, and then the Debo and whoever else wins that other starting corner, whether it be Cordell Flott or whether it's Tay Banks. I think the secondary could be an underrated unit as we get into this season, especially with the talent that we have up front that could take potentially take a lot of the pressure off of those guys back there. And I'm looking just hopefully to see like a big change from Bobby Okereke. I think last season was an epiphany. I think something was disconnect with Bobby Okereke last year, and I just hopefully we can see some change, get something a little bit better. A better him once again. I think that will happen. I think he's going to rebound. I think the player that he is, he's not going to settle for what the kind of season he had a year ago. I think he's going to want to step up and make some change and make something happen this year. Get back to that 100 tackle guy. It was a rough year for him last year. I don't know what was really going on mentally, physically, but at the end of the day, I still feel strongly that he is our best linebacker, and he is the captain of this defense for a reason. And I think he'll I think he'll make some strides again this year in this Shane Bowen defense system, which that's what another thing comes down to with this defense. It's going to come down to Shane Bowen and his play calling on this defense, his style of play. I feel like he does have to be more aggressive, man. He's going to have with this, and I think potentially he will be because he has some of the dogs to do it now. I mean, he has, like I said, he can do the sky's the limit. Things he can do with this D line is he the sky's the limit, man. So hopefully he's got some clever things up his sleeve. Obviously, you're not going to see too much in these training camp practices. You know, they're not going to sit there and just put too much out there. But really curious to see. I can't wait till we get to the preseason and can see it on the field a little bit, at least somewhat on the field. I know preseason you're not going to see but so much because it's just preseason. You're not going to see necessarily a whole lot from the starters, especially the way things are set up now. 17 game schedule, just 3 preseason games. It's just not really going to get a whole lot. But at the same time, you can kind of see it. You can see some things. You can get an idea, a basic fundamental idea of how things might go down. And like I said, I feel good. I really do. Like I think this team is. I'm not so sure we're going to be able to crawl our way out of the basement quite yet in this division. It's a very tough division, obviously. I'm not sure if we're going to leapfrog any of these 3 teams. But at the end of the day, I think we'll just get a far better product. Like I said, I like what I've been seeing throughout these 3 days of practice so far. It's just a different kind of vibe. I feel like these guys have a quarterback that they can have some degree of confidence in, even though he's not necessarily the greatest anymore. He's not, like I said, he's not that same guy he once was earlier in his career. But I think when you got a guy that you still have some confidence in, because there was just nobody's obviously going to ever just come out and admit it, but there was no confidence in Daniel Jones. There wasn't. People might have supported, people might have liked the guy, he was a nice kid, whatever. Sure, he's a great guy, great human being. But we needed him to be a great quarterback, and he never was able to get to that point. Russell Wilson's been at that point. He might not be a great quarterback now, but he's been at that point in his career. He's been at that pinnacle. He is a Super Bowl champion, and he also played in another Super Bowl in which she took the L. But at the end of the day, he's got a championship pedigree. He knows what it takes. So I just feel that right there, it's just going to bolster the offense more than people are expecting it to. I mean, like I said, and could I be wrong? Maybe I'm wrong, but I just feel like Russell Wilson's going to play himself back into credibility again and his career maybe on his own terms. Most likely won't be here in New York because if he has a great year here, most likely he's going to want more money than the Giants, I would think, should be putting out there for him, to be quite frank. So that would be a good. I mean, in a sense, that's like a good thing for the Giants. In a sense, because you'll know what you have on this roster. It gives you a better idea what you have on this roster. But at the end of the day, you got to figure some things out. Like Jackson Dart, like I said, he's got to get it figured out. They got to figure out something they brought up on the somebody brought up on the Real Deal. Might have been Deal. NFC's roundup on Wednesday, me and Adam, man. And they brought up like the draft class next year, quarterbacks. Like that makes it. I think it was pretty sure it was Deal. And make sure it's that you got to get a look at these guys. You got to get a look at Jackson Dart just for the simple fact that you do need to know. You need to know whether he is the guy or not, because you're going to have a lot of good quarterbacks coming out next year that, hey, maybe you can't afford to pass up on these guys and go in blindly not knowing whether or not you got your guy in Jackson Dart. Now, whether it's late in the year and even if it's maybe only 2 or 3 starts late in the year or whatever, depending on how the season goes, I feel like you got to get some degree of a look. I know some people were just saying, "Oh, total redshirt season," but I think it'll be completely based on how the year goes. I mean, if we're not going to the playoffs or anything like that, like Russ Wilson doesn't put together some kind of magical season, and we're not going to the postseason anyway or anything like that, then you got to get a look at him, man. You got to figure out a way to fit fit Dart in there and get some kind of a look at him, man, because you know, otherwise I just don't. You can't go into the draft next year and then just pass on what could be potential generational talents, not knowing if you have your guy or not. We already screwed up on whiffed on a great quarterback class a year ago. We can't make that same mistake again either. Coach says, hopefully we can vastly improve in the run defense. Absolutely. We better. We better. We can't keep getting gashed like we were a season ago. And hopefully we can do that. I mean, hopefully they got hopefully they can. That's something that needs to be studied. That's where your linebackers, Bobby Okereke. If you can if those guys up front can keep our linebackers clean and keep these guys from getting up on our linebackers, hopefully you can get Bobby Okereke, Michael Fadden flowing to the football, and maybe that can help that out too. And then get these edge guys setting that edge. I mean, Kayvon Thibodeau actually does a pretty good job of it. But he said his own self, he's got to be able to finish. So hopefully we can get these guys stepping up. I mean, Roy Robertson Harris right now looking like he's got the inside track to being that second starting D tackle next to Dexter Lawrence as of right now. He's kind of got the inside track to that right now. I mean, that's what he's kind of known for, being a big run stuffer. So hopefully, Coach, they can get together get it together, man, because that has been a problem for far too long as well. We talk about we harp on the offensive line and how bad offensive line has been. Right there, you're right on the money with that, Coach. That's another one right there. That run defense has been god awful for the last few years, man, and it's got to get better, man. But hopefully, if we can get a better rotational system going, and you can give Dex a blow here and there every once in a while, and keep him a little more fresh, man, because I feel like that's what it is. I mean, whenever Dex has to come off the field, teams absolutely gash us in the run game. I mean, they take advantage of that, as they should. I mean, that's a smart move. Dexter's on the side. Oh, 97's on the sideline? Okay, run right at him right now. I mean, it only makes sense. But if you can get some guys in there, obviously they're not going to be as good as Dexter Lawrence, but can just hold up and hold their own while he's on the sideline getting a blow real quick for a play or two. That can give our run defense a little more credibility, man, because I feel like ever since we had Leo there, man, side by side with Dex, next to Dex, it's been absolutely terrible. Absolutely terrible. And we got definitely an area of that needs far more improvement, man. But also with a guy like Javon Holland, who likes to come up and get in the box a little bit, stick his nose in there. He's a plugger. Drew Phillips is a plugger. All these things, it's got to be a team effort, man. I think Brian Daboll actually touched on that earlier, actually, after he was speaking after practice. And that, like you said, it's got to be a team effort, man. That run defense, it's a will. It's will. You got to want to win. You got to want that, man. That's what it's all about, man. And I think that hopefully it can only improve, because let's face it, you got Saquon Barkley 2 times a game, and you got whatever committee Washington is throwing at you, whatever committee Dallas is throwing at you. I mean, that's what it comes down to, man. Coach says exactly on the linebackers. I need to see them free flowing to the football. The front line commanding blocks, especially double teams, make offenses one-dimensional and use the talent in the pass rush. Absolutely, Coach. And hopefully, like I said, we have the talent now, and hopefully that can all come together. I mean, it's easy for us to sit here and say it, but hopefully it can all come together, man, come to fruition, and it can work out, man. So we're going to all see. Like I said, we'll get to see, man. Like I said, we'll maybe get to see it a little bit in the preseason. It's hard. Preseason is hard. It's hard to tell what's really happening. Preseason, bad teams look great in the preseason. The great teams just don't care, and they don't look so great. And then the season starts, and then you see what's real. I mean, I still remember that year the damn Detroit Lions went undefeated in preseason, and then they lost every regular season game. That's what it is. So we'll see, man. All we can do is wait and see right now. Everything with the Giants is a project. Like it's optimism, and I got a lot of it this year, and I got a lot more than I have had because I can see the positive changes, and I can see that this roster is definitely a far better roster than it was a season ago at this time. We do absolutely have players. I feel like when we get to these cut downs, we have players that other teams might actually want for a change. As I mean, the last couple of years, as you know, Giants when they get to the cut downs, the Giants is cutting their players, and all those guys were working in grocery stores afterwards. It wasn't nobody looking to pick those, knocking down the door, looking to pick those guys up. I think that's not going to be. I think that's going to be a different kind of situation this year. The Giants going to have to make some tough decisions on some of these guys, man. And it's going to be interesting. Like I said, if you're going to have like the tight end battle has been heating up as well, man. Another positional battle. I mean, you got with Daniel Bellinger, Thomas Fidone, Theo Johnson, Chris Manhertz, and Greg Dulcich right now battling it out. And Greg Dulcich is kind of that wild card. He's been put together a couple of nice days of practice here, and he's kind of now that guy that's kind of like, oh, he might come in and take a spot from somebody. I feel like the only one of these tight ends that I feel like is guaranteed their spot pretty much is Theo Johnson for the most part. After that, the rest is who's it going to be? Will it be Bellinger? Will it be Bellinger? Fidone made a spectacular catch yesterday in practice. That one-handed catch was absolutely spectacular for the 7th round pick, man. And I got a question in from Facebook. How sold are you on Russell as the Giants starting quarterback? Look, I just know I'm not gonna say talk about necessarily how sold I am as opposed to I know what Russell Wilson is. And I'm a realist about what Russell Wilson is at this stage of his career. He's not the top 10 superstar quarterback from his Seattle Seahawks days. He's not that. But if we can get that guy that year in Denver where he's like 26 touchdowns and very few interceptions, that's better than what we've had over here since Eli Manning retired. So, look, I'll sign up for that all day because what we've seen for the last 6 years at quarterback has been absolutely abysmal. Absolutely abysmal. And Russell Wilson brings something more to the table, man. Like I was saying, he's a proven guy. He's a winner. He's a champion. In my opinion, he is a future Hall of Famer. People seem to want to doubt that for some reason. I just don't know how. I mean, he's this guy. I don't see how he's not going to be in the Hall of Fame. And if not on his first ballot, I mean, he'll be in the Hall of Fame. I just can't see him not getting there. And he's just to me, he's just a major upgrade. I mean, so that's how I feel. It's not so much that I'm sold on him as if I just know that he's better than what was here before. I can say that. And I can say that with confidence that he is better than what was here before. The Illa, man. These guys, if Greg stays healthy, I'll be shocked. He did this every year in Denver while he was there. Shows a little bit of promise. Next thing you know, he's out for an extended period of time. And it comes down to that. But another thing he has going for him, that he does have going for him if he can stay healthy, is the fact that he's played with Russell Wilson already prior in Denver. He played with Russell Wilson. They have a bit of a history and they have some form. They already have a little bit of chemistry anyway. So that does something that maybe favors him in potentially grabbing one of those roster spots at the tight end. Like I said, that tight end battle, I think, is kind of an underrated battle coming into camp a little bit. I think it's going to be interesting. Like I said, Theo Johnson to me is the only guarantee. I feel like everybody else is going to have to really get out there, dig deep, and earn that spot, man. I expect the rush from Denver. At least I'd say the rush from Denver. I don't think we're not getting the guy from Seattle. Look, toss that out. That guy he's not that guy anymore. So we're not getting the rush from Seattle. But I think Last year he got off to a slow start because he was injured in the beginning of the year, and he got his foot, and he still played pretty serviceable for Pittsburgh for most of the way. But once he got on the field, but at the end of the day, he never really was right in Pittsburgh totally. You know what I mean? And I think we'll get that. We can get at least that Denver guy. And like I said, that's better than the guy that we've had here. I don't want to keep, completely tearing this young man down, but Russ is better than him. So it is what it is. And I think so. I believe Russell Wilson is just going to add something just in that respect. So who are the wide receivers? That also gets a little bit interesting. That's what I mean. Like I said, the Giants going to have some tough decisions to make. I mean, let's face it. Obviously, we know Malik Neighbors is going to be wide receiver one. His spot is locked, and that's not something to even discuss. I'd say you can guarantee Wan'Dale Robinson also. You can guarantee that spot. You can pretty much guarantee Darius Slayton's spot. I would feel like. Now, here's where again, you like to say Jalen Hyatt, but he's still going to have to go out there and prove it, man. This is a prove-it year for him, and he's going to have to go out there and prove it. And how many receivers are they going to keep? I wouldn't feel like more than 6, maybe 7. I don't know, because you got a couple of special teamers here that also, they bring something so they're so valuable on special teams that they're going to get spots as well. Amir Smith-Marset clearly is going to get a spot on this roster. Doesn't really do much on offense, but he's best return man on this roster on this team, and that's not even close. So he's getting his spot. He's getting a spot. He's a wide receiver. You know what I mean? And then Bryce Ford-Wheaton, also a big-time special teamer. He's going to get a spot. But then you got a couple other guys that's making some plays as well, man. You got like a Bo Collins. You got little Jordan Humphrey. These guys are out there making plays, have been out there making plays as well. It's going to be interesting when they start figuring out how they're going to put this roster together, man, and how they're going to construct this roster. It says, but Keenan Allen still a free agent. His numbers were good last year, and Amari Cooper is available also. What about either one of them? I think right now I probably wouldn't be that overly concerned with sure, those are solid veteran guys that if you can add them for the right price, I guess why not for the right price, I suppose. But at the end of the day, I think this New York Giant receiver room is a little better than people give it credit for. Overall, we know what Malik Neighbors is. Obviously, he's an absolute dog. But I think some of the other guys are a little better too, man. I think with improved quarterback play, you'll see a better version of these guys. And I'm kind of willing to ride it out with the guys we got, because I think there's already some really good competition here in camp. And I feel like you bring in Keenan Allen or Amari Cooper, who you knocking off, you know what I mean, for those guys. At the end of the day, you got guys out here already working. They know the system. They've been here, a couple of years now, multiple years, like with Wan'Dale and for instance, Darius Slayton, even Jalen Hyatt. These guys, it's like who you pretty much bumping to bring Keenan Allen, who's definitely had a solid year last year, I'd say, but at the same time, he's also another just guy with a crazy injury history as well. So, look, like I said, I wouldn't be opposed if there's some reason they did bring either one of those guys in. Obviously, I wouldn't be opposed to it. But at the end of the day, I just don't necessarily think that's a necessity, and I feel like there's bigger things to address on this football team. Like I said, the offensive line to me is still that's the biggest question mark, and it will remain that way. I feel like throughout the summer, throughout all the training camp, a lot of good competition. I feel like nobody should feel comfortable on that O-line, but honestly, I just think you figure out who your best 5 are and you go with it. Don't worry about the names on the back of those jerseys. You figure out who your best 5 are and you go with it. And you let these guys build up a chemistry and build up a rapport together. Offensive linemen, man, as far as I'm concerned, linemen should hang out with each other. They should do every damn thing together, because that's how in sync they need to be. That's what a good offensive line is. I ain't never played professional football, obviously, but I was an offensive lineman in my football playing days, and I know I always had the pleasure of playing on a pretty good offensive line in high school. I know it's not the same as the NFL, but I was with guys that we were together basically all 4 years and I was in high school. We started off as young bucks together, and we built a rapport, and we became really good. We were all really close, good friends, and that's you build that chemistry up with each other, man. That's what an offensive line is like. It's a family. That's like a, I mean, the whole team is like a family, but that's how you gel. You got to gel, and that's been the problem. Been too many moving parts on the New York Giant offensive line for too many years now. It's just injuries. I get it. They happen, and when they do, you do have to figure out other things, a contingency plan. But this has been too many moving pieces, man. Too many. And hopefully they'll figure something out this year, get it together, and get it right. I want to say I'd hope that the offensive line is not going to be the reason that Russell Wilson's season comes to an end. Hope that's not the reason. I mean, if it is, that would be once again back to the drawing board, I would say, for this offensive line. So whether he lasts the whole season or not, I'm not convinced of that, because I think the New York Giants have other things, these things they need to be able to evaluate depending on how this season goes. But I hope if he doesn't, if he does not last the entire year, I hope it is not because of the offensive line. I hope it is because that would just be a very bad thing. That would be scary, because now this O line then got Russell Wilson banged up and got him beat up or whatever, and he's out. Now we're gonna put our rookie quarterback in there behind that. I mean, we'll be back to doing the same thing, man. Have him running for his life. I just don't know, man. Just not so sure how I feel. I'm hoping hopefully, like I said, we'll get some more, we'll get better answers come Monday, and we'll be able to, like I said, see this offensive line a little bit more. Get a better look at this O line and have an idea of what they are. But right now, like they are a serious work in progress, and hopefully they can get their act together this season, like I said, and just be like at least middle of the road. If they can give us middle of the road, that's good enough for me, man. Like I said, I think that'll be good enough to at least have a decent year. I think that they just got to be able to. They just got, like I said, they have to figure out a way to be consistent. They put together like a few good games early in the season last year before Andrew Thomas went down, but they got to figure out a way to be consistent. Once like Andrew Thomas, as good as he is, like once he went down, this offensive line completely fell apart. I mean, it fell apart. Like Jermaine Illuminor still played, like I said, played pretty well overall. And then, like I said, I like what I saw from Gray Van Roten for the most part. I mean, serviceable, nothing like spectacular, nothing great. Like it's not like, oh yeah, this guy's all pro or anything. But at the same time, at least those two guys seem to be able to hold it together. We just need to get this some consistency on this offensive line and get these guys, and get these guys doing a little bit more and being better, man. Just being better pros, being better at their job. So just say Russ doesn't finish the season as the Giants quarterback. Will it be Jameis or Jackson Dart? I think it will depend on what point of the season. Let's say Russ Wilson gets hurt week 2, hypothetically. I would think they would go to Jameis Winston in that situation first before they just go out there and insert Jackson Dart in there. That's just my opinion. I don't really know. I know today James Winston got more of the second team snaps today at practice, but Jackson Dart has been getting them. Prior to today, the first couple of days, Jackson Dart has been QB2 after Russ Wilson. So that's going to be a wait and see, I think. But I would feel like the earlier in the year, the most likely it will be Jameis Winston. But later in the year, I would think it would most likely be Jackson Dart. So that's a good question, by the way, too. That's a really good. I appreciate that question, Michael. And if you don't mind, man, I want you to come over to my YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, man, hit the like on the stream for me. I really would appreciate it, man. Appreciate it, brother. But Yeah, I think that's going to just be a time a situation. That'd be situational. I think that question it does vary depending on what time of the year. If Russ was to something was to happen to Russ or something he was to go down. Like I said, the earlier in the year I would feel strongly that it would be Jameis Winston though, and the later in the year I would think it would be Jackson Dart. But I don't know. I don't really got much more today. I mean, it's been a good first few days of training camp. It's been exciting, getting that energy, getting that juice back. Guys getting the feet wet again, man. It's been beautiful. It's been fun to watch, man. But Eagles fan, huh? Growing up in Philly, I'm right outside of Philly, man. I ain't that far from you, man. I'm a New York Giants fan, right down the turnpike in Delaware, brother. But Eagles look poised, man. I'll give you that, man. I'm not gonna sit here and this is just and start having a slobbing over the Eagles again. I did enough of that on Wednesday, unfortunately, on my other show on Wednesday. Can't do that. Can't do that much more. I ain't gonna do that. But at the same time, I do got respect for the defending champs, man. They are one hell of a football team. So good luck to y'all this year, except for when y'all play us, obviously. But and see how it feels when you're getting everybody's best shot now. Target is on their back as much as they're trying to deflect that, because I've been hearing them talking. They're trying to deflect that, but you can't deflect that. The target is on your back when you're the champions. Everybody's gonna want to get some. What's the deal you got? How do you feel about putting Hyde in the slot? To me, it's a ridiculous idea. How do you put a wide receiver closer to the LOS who can't run route? Oh, to the line of scrimmage. Wide receiver, my fault. I had a brain fart. Wide receiver close to the line of scrimmage who can't run routes in an even more condensed area of the field. It makes no sense. I don't know. I mean, just off the fact that he hasn't been having any success whatsoever on the outside, really, thus far in his career, I'd be willing to at least give it a look, maybe. I mean, this guy he still was a Bolitnikoff winner his last year in college in Tennessee, and he did most of that damage out of the slot, from what I hear. Now, granted, this is the NFL; it's not the same, but I'd be willing to give him a shot there if nothing else, because honestly, I mean, who else you really got after Slayton or whatever? Who else? I mean, what else do you got coming out of the slot? I mean, they've been getting no in practice the last couple of days. They've been Smith Marsette's been getting a lot of work in the slot, but that's because I feel like they're just trying to give him work just because he's going to be on the roster, so they want to give him some receiver work in the event they need him on the field on offense. But I don't know. I'd be, like I said, I'd be willing to at least take a look at it and see if it could work. He said he lives in upstate. I live in upstate New York for the past 18 years. I lived in the city for 39. Okay. Kevin, do you think Dayball is on the hot seat? Absolutely. He absolutely is on the hot seat. For sure. I mean, it's one thing to not have ridiculous expectations for this season, but if this team looks anything remotely like it did a year ago, oh no, that will not be acceptable. I mean, I think he can get away with this team only having like a 6-win season because I think most people know what this team truly is, but it's going to depend how it looks. It's going to depend how it looks. It can't look like it did last year. There's just no way he's keeping his job if it looks anything like it did last year. The Super Bowl champs are like that super fine female. Everyone is ready to shoot their shot and see if they can get some. Word, coach. That's what it is, man. That's what they are, man. He said, "Be glad you do not live around Buffalo Bill fans. Their fans think they're owed something. They ain't owed anything, man. They need to go out there and get it. They've had opportunities. They got to go out there and get it. They got to get over that Kansas City Chief hump. Figure it out, man. They got to figure something out. I mean, just general. Okay, we off topic a little bit here. That's a coach to me that I think could potentially, man, he's got to figure out a way to get over the hump. Because after a while, winning, you win in the regular season, you get to the postseason, but if you still can't figure out a way to get over that hump, man, something has to change. You're not getting rid of Josh Allen, you know what I mean? So that's a guy who I think could, you know, you might want to you might want to be careful, just try to make sure you try to figure out, put something together, man, up there in Buffalo, man. I mean, he's a good coach. I'm not necessarily trying to start some crazy, weird rumors, but I just think that's something that could be, up for debate. If he once again gets in there and still can't figure out a way to beat these Chiefs in the playoffs, man. So he thinks if the Giants head coach gets fired, the perfect match dart will be Cliff Kingsbury. Perhaps, but sometimes with certain coaches, man, I think you just got to know your role, man. And Cliff Kingsbury just seems to be a far better coordinator than head coach, man. And some guys just gotta know their niche. You know what I mean? And so we'll see. I mean, we'll see. There'll be always lots of great candidates. I mean, I wish the Giants could have took a swing at Ben Johnson and just got Daboll out of here this last season, honestly. But hey, it is what it is. I felt like that last year. I get. He played that position in college, but you aren't running to the amount of open grass in the NFL. That is also true. And I mean, but he did pack the weight on a little bit, got a little stronger, and still has his speed. So, like I said, with a guy like him, with the way his career has gotten off, the start that his career has gotten off through these first few years, I wouldn't rule out anything. I'd at least be willing to take a look at anything, because sometimes you just never know, and you never know until you at least try it out and give it a whirl. That's pretty much where I'm at with a guy like him. But the Buffalo Bills head coach is horrible, and he should just go back to being a defensive coordinator, which is his bread and butter. Perhaps. I mean, time will tell, man. But he's been kind of stonewalled by Andy Reid and them Chiefs, man, lately. It's been like that's just been that thing, man. They cannot seem to get over that hump. Coach Ed here is says, sorry, no to Kingsbury. He could hold wood in Arizona. He could hold wood in Arizona. Yeah. I'm not really, like I said, as a head coach, he couldn't hold. Yeah, he couldn't. I'm just not sold on him as a head coach. And then Kevin, this is my guy here, Kevin. He said he's a Washington Commanders fan. He says, nah, Cliff ain't leaving Jaden Daniels, man. Look, man, you can have him, man. Like I said, I'm not necessarily. He doesn't necessarily excite me, like I said, especially not as a head coach. He said, I'm glad Ben Johnson is not in our division. I mean, time will tell. We don't know if Ben Johnson also could fall into that same category, honestly. He's got to go out there and prove it. I mean, he's got a talented Chicago team out there he got hired, but he's got to go out there and prove it, man. He may fall into that same category that I'm speaking of, referring to Cliff Kingsbury. He may be a guy that proves to be a better coordinator than head coach. It's yet to be determined. We'll find out, though, man. We know that this guy has the smarts on the offense, man. But guys, this has been great, man. I'm at that 60-minute mark, and I do appreciate everybody, man. I'll be back next Friday for sure. Once again, make sure y'all come hit that like, subscribe button, ring that bell. Football season is back, man. I'm back doing regular content. I'll be doing this every Friday afternoon, 3 p.m. Just talking for a little bit about the New York Giants and the landscape of the team. Nothing necessarily. No necessarily hot topics, just so much, just kind of just talking that talk, man. Like I said, getting next week, probably talk a little bit about the upcoming preseason games and stuff like that. Start getting a little bit into that. We'll have a week of practice, a full padded practice is underway. Have some more things to talk about next Friday for sure. And also make sure you definitely on Wednesday evening at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. you join myself and the super dope co-host Adam Costas for the real deal NFC East roundup, where we talk about the entire NFC East division, which is just the best division in football as far as I'm concerned. I'm going to always say that. I know it might not be necessarily on paper right now, technically, but it's the only division in football where all 4 teams have multiple Lombardi trophies. It's the best damn division in football, and I love talking about it. So make sure y'all tune in Wednesday at 5:30 for that. Each and every Wednesday until the last NFC East team is standing. It's your boy, Mac the Giants fan. I appreciate y'all for coming through, and I'll see y'all next Friday. Peace. I'd like to thank you all for listening. If you was feeling this, please take time to subscribe and smack them likes. Feel free to drop a comment. Let me know what you think. Don't forget to ring that bell so you know when I'm dropping new content. It's your boy, Mac the Giants fan. You can find me on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook at Mac the Giants fan. That's MacDa Giants fan.